but they're giving a report to the government in Australia. And because of the way Deloitte works, obviously the partners sell to the client and then they give all the work to the kids. The kids don't know how AI works, so they trust everything implicitly and they pack the report full of hallucinations. And that's, it's only a $440,000 contract that didn't get paid. But what's it done to their reputation across the whole of the world? This is just stupidity by leaders as well. And I think the point really that I'd like to make, and I'm banging on about at the moment, is since the beginning of my career in digital transformation, where I genuinely believed that it was going to make us all more productive and happy, and we were going to have more time free, and things were going to be simpler, and we were going to be more communicative and collaborative, which is all the stuff I worked on. If you look at the data in one way, yes, we are the graphs that we're seeing, the productivity is going up and the amount of people that we're hiring is kind of flattening off. So that's great, right? Less people, more productivity. But then you look at the other data, engagement's gone down and down and down and down over the last 25 years. The last report was 77% of the workforce feel that they're burning out. Just in the UK alone, we're talking about 21.6 billion wasted on stress. And what I hear from the people I work with all of the time is the change after the change after the change that keeps being foisted upon them leaves them in a situation where we've never felt so alone, never felt so disconnected. This is not good for business. So we were trying to digitize work. What we've digitized is overwhelm. So talk about $1 billion failure. That's it.
And I'm really pleased to be joined by Katz Keeley, a 20-year transformation pioneer who has driven large-scale change for the UN, the BBC, and GSK, to name a few. And I'm also joined by Stephen J. Manning, who built $1 billion marketing business.
May I
please
venture forth here? I think what you said is so on point. I have nothing to add to that. Going back a bit in time, if you allow me, there's a part of this revolution, if you will, that many of us who are in it, who are in the midst of it, technologists or users, Uber users, the three of us are, I prefer, Uber users, and we actually understand more than most. I remember we were, I think, the 9th people in the backbone of the internet. Now, by the way, I did not know what that meant. Now, I've been aware of the internet for years, and this is many, many decades ago. I've been aware of it forever. We didn't invent it. Al Gore invented it. We just kind of came across it. And then I remember this kid, Sky Dayton. He actually created what ended up being one of the biggest ISPs in the world, which he sold for $400 million before he had any revenue, gave me a little gift, gave me an email address. I said, that is so cool. But I didn't know anybody else who had one. Now, I remember the first time I saw the internet was an airplane, surreptitiously. We're not supposed to turn those machines on. Billions of pieces of stuff flying across. We're on the internet, said my partner, Rodney. I said, oh, that's really cool. And then the kids in Champlain developed a browser that I became really a hit with friends. I could figure out what's that green rock that comes out of New Zealand called. I could actually research that. I also found that I became really limited in my impact on the company that I was raising, because whatever you do, don't give me the opportunity to do some research that is superfluous. Now, I'm a shameless researcher, but I'm focused. The first time I had that machine, Philip, Steve, you got to have this. And that's what she told me, that I was going to have dinner at this Chinese restaurant in New York 3 days later. And I said, it's phenomenal. And pretty soon I was looking at how much do cows weigh in India rather than Pakistan. And then I said, if you don't take it off my desk, I'm going to throw it through a window, because I have become completely impotent. I can't get anything done. I've been sitting for 22 hours. Now, the point I'm making is that something that we ignore is And it crystallized for me with this really brilliant group of people came in to talk us into a piece of technology they had, analytics. They found some, these are brilliant people. They live someplace, they live here, I live here. And they were telling us that in our quantitative analyses, they came up the ultimate mathematical, theoretical models, whatever, that deal effectively with tiny numbers. Because, hey, A beat B by 2%, irrelevant. It's well within a range. They took that to where we would look at things that are called de minimis, nothing, irrelevant. They were able to really qualify the data. It's really cool. And I said, I'm shaking my head. I don't have a degree in quantum physics or mathematics, but I said, but I do run this business. I don't get it. I don't really understand. And then the CEO told me, it's just too complex. You're not going to understand this. I said, so you want me to write a big old check on something I'm just never going to understand? How does that make sense, as you said, from a business standpoint? Now, I believe one of the things that we are ignoring, those of us that are up to here on this, is that most of the people out there who we impact, or beneficiaries or losers of the game, don't really get it. They know all about this AI stuff because it's on TV. Everyone's talking about it. Oh, good. AI is the end all be all, but they don't get it. See, we are talking here and they are over here. And that's really the masses. Now, right now, we talk endlessly about AI. Glad to do it. We have become experts on AI. Now, I was in AI in 1980, but that's infancy. That's man began walking upright right around then. But, we talk about this endlessly. And I find myself in company of otherwise smart people who think AI is writing a letter to their boss or their supplier. That's what really is. Or, can you believe it? Somebody just sued ChatGPT because the kid did 3 years of research and then committed suicide with the help of this. That's what they focus on. And the biggest topic of all, we're all going to lose our jobs. The AI. Now, if you understand how that really works, and you got to be thinking laterally about AI. It's not vertical. It's just get better and better. It feeds on itself. Hey, listen, I say this all the time. Elon Musk told me that the population of Germany has shrunk to 83.9 million. How do you know? Well, Elon Musk told me. Grok told me. Okay, to me, that is a tremendous research tool, but it's not. There's progress in the process. Okay, and the thing that my biggest fear, of course, we can get to this, is what happens to creativity? What happens to the people thing? Two comments.
Well, you raise some massive points there,
You
Steve.
talked about change. See,
Massive
I
points.
know people like change. They just don't want to be changed.
Absolutely.
So how do you do that?
That leads, but Steve, that leads us into our next talking point. And I know Katz has got masses to say about AI implementations failing. So why do the top-down AI implementations fail more often than bottom-up innovations?
So, here's the thing. So, Gartner, even Gartner now is saying that 75% of all big organizations insist on using top-down change management. 75% of those are failing. The reason they're failing is because they're top-down. They don't understand what that change is going to mean for them. And if you look at the sort of physiology of what happens when you have change done to you, back to your point here, Stephen. So our brains haven't really evolved since we were on the savannah over the last however many thousands and thousands of years. We have two key states. One of them is the reward state, and that reward state is what keeps us attached and connected and want to keep safe our tribe. And then we've got the threat state. The threat state is the state that we The threat is that we developed to be able to run away from the saber-toothed tiger if they're on the planet at the same time. So while we're in the threat state, we are incapable of making decisions. We're incapable of collaborating. We're fearful. We're nasty. We're aggressive. In the reward state, we're collaborative and communicative and innovative. We have all of the things whereby the reward state is what we should be trying to get our employees in. That's the change-ready state. But what we're doing with top-down is change arrives, and the physiological reaction to having change done to us is it puts us into the threat state. We feel stressed. We lose the power to make decisions. We lose the power to communicate, etc., etc., etc. And so every time we do change top down, we're having that same impact. So we're doing change after change after change after change. And every time we're physiologically having a reaction to that change because it's being done to us and we don't know what it is or what it's going to mean to us. And then you look at the reaction then of the change fatigue and the stress and the demotivation and the lack of ability to actually speak up or innovate or tell the truth, because there is no psychological safety there. So any transformation that we have done in the past, and even people like Gartner are saying this now, there is an understanding, all of the data shows every change should be treated as an opportunity to start to embed a culture of psychological safety. Every change should be seen as a way of bringing the community that you're working with, your ecosystem or your staff, to feel that they own the change. Because when people feel they own the change and they're being really consulted, and again, if you look at the IKEA effect, if we co-create something, whether that be an object or a strategy, we're going to love that thing. We don't have a problem with it. We'll be in the reward state because that's ours. So we have to turn the paradigm upside down, and leadership needs to figure out what leadership means in a change-ready culture. And it's diametrically opposed to what leadership has meant, which is, I know best, you're going to do what I tell you, it's going to be good for you, just do it.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's very interesting that. I mean, the consensus style management has been around for decades, right? But actually, so few companies have this flat structure, and this is just like the major issue, especially now. It's getting even worse now because people are realizing that actually middle management isn't needed anymore, so they're getting rid of thousands and thousands of people from a lot of major corporations. We're in a very challenging place. If you value the insights on influential visions, you'll be pleased to know that that is just the public version. Inside Monday Influencer, the indispensable weekly guide to success in business, career, life. You get a weekly email, which also has an audio version narrated personally by us. You get early access to uncut interviews, behind the scenes footage and intel. You get critical insights, unlocking AI and technology for your success. You can download cheat sheets, checklists, and many audios which will help you to become a better executive and a business person. Your risk is $1. Join us. The link is in the description. Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening to Influential Visions.